Join me again today as we look at another slightly underrated line.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mando number 5.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel Mando number 5 and I'm Keith Guppy. So welcome to episode number 21 of my figure focus time, where we look at all the modern Star Wars figures released from about 1995 in the 3.75 scale. So today we're going to look at the Power of the Jedi, which was launched in 2000 to 2001. Well, another line, I say this quite often, another line I think's been a bit underlooked, it's a bit underrated, and there are some quite cool figures when you dive into the detail. So this is what the figures look like. So you had Darth Vader in the background there, slight silhouette, a young Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Star Wars logo with the Starburst behind. They came in two collections, Collection 1 and Collection 2. There were 60 figures in all, including 4 sneak peek figures for Attack of the Clones. They had a Jedi Force file here, which gave you some information about the character. Obviously the figure itself, and this is a Mon Calamarian officer. But again, this just shows you this is just one of the figures that are quite popular because they're good troop builders. And you'll struggle to get Mon Calamarian officers in any other lines. On the back, well, this is an American card, and I'll show you the different card backs in a minute. You had a range of the figures on the back. You could see through the to the back of the Force file or the Jedi file, and there's some vital statistics there. So yeah, 60 figures in all. So the line was pretty big, actually. Not so many vehicles, probably about half a dozen vehicles, and a play set, and a few deluxe figures that are really, really cool as well. And today we'll also cover off a few variants we've got the line. There's not too many. And also I'll do a countdown of my top 5 most expensive figures in the line, and a few honourable mentions of some of the really cool figures I think are in the line. As always, if you're enjoying the video, hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more content. So let's take a look at the different card variations before we dive into the actual figures. So as I said before, you've got the standard card here, and you've got the American back here. And then for the UK release, you had the sticker, the famous sticker you have on a lot of the lines, and that details the European and UK release. So very, very similar, not a lot of difference there. So we'll take that one away. But then you've got the Mexican release. Now this is a graded AFA Luke Skywalker. It says Troy language, but on the back it's clearly it is a Mexican release on the back here. So yeah, so you had the Mexican release as well, which has got the different translations on top. So quite a lot different from the single language version. And then right at the end of the line, 2001, they relaunched the figures with no foil on them. So you can see here there's no fat foil, Jedi fat foil with them. So they were like a bit of a cheaper version there. I think they launched about 12 or 13 like this. But again, they did the European release with the famous sticker, and then obviously the normal release. But the card backs were quite different, as you can see, in terms of what they looked like. They had a bigger picture of the character. Obviously no Jedi Force file on them, and then 3 or 4 of the other characters. And then obviously the European one had just had a black sticker. So yeah, so there was, like I said, there's about a dozen of those, I think. And then on top of that, you had the sneak peek figures. There were 4 of those, and I'll just run through those now. So they were quite different. They had a bigger bubble, no files with them, for Jedi files. So these were Attack of the Clones sneak peeks. You had R3-T7, you had Zam Wessel, and there's the back. So the back, you just had a depiction of all the different figures from the line, and this was obviously a Japanese distribution one because it's got the Japanese sticker on it. So you had Zam Vessel, R3-T7, you had a Clone Trooper, which is pretty cool. There, sneak peek Clone Trooper, and finally you had the best one probably, Jango Fett with his twin blasters. So yeah, 4 of those, and they were quite different, and they just whetted everyone's appetite for the Clone Wars that came out shortly afterwards. And there was one other unusual card that was slightly different, and I haven't got it. I've just got the figure. This is Emperor's Wrath, so you can see like his Force Lightning affecting his helmet there, which is the first sort of time they attempted to do this, but they did it obviously improve on it. But Tomy in Japan celebrated their 100th figure. So they did a version of this with a blue label in the corner. Now I'll put up a picture. That's very, very rare. I'm not sure about what the back looked like. It probably had a Japanese sticker on it, but it had a distinctive blue label. So that's quite an unusual one. I thought I'd just show you. In terms of variants, there aren't many. I think there's 3, but if anyone else knows of any others, then shout out, because I'm not aware of any more. So you had the Scout Trooper in a dirty version, so you've got the dirty, grubby marks on him, and then you had a clean version. I haven't got a clean version, so I'll pop a picture up of him, but he's basically the same, but just with none of these marks. Then you had a IG-88 assassin droid, but you had 2 versions, one with an open right hand, and one with a closed right hand. Again, I'll pop up a picture of that variant. So that's another variant for those collectors out there who like all your variants. And then finally, Zooton, Snaggletooth, the red version. He came in this pale skin, but also a darker skin, I believe. And again, I'll try to put up a picture that might show that of his darker skin. So that was all the variants that I'm aware of, but please let me know if there are other ones. So before we get into the top 5 most expensive figures, and they're not that expensive, I was about to do my memorable mentions section, where I pick out some of the better figures of the line, basically. But I've just seen this one, and this was going to be one of my honorable mentions anyway. It's Chewbacca during his Jedi Championship match on the Millennium Falcon, with his hands behind his head, looking pretty chuffed with himself. But it's got a real cool chest set and some of the figures, so that makes it probably a 15-20 quid figure, which is quite expensive for this line. But I've just noticed, for you again, people who collect all the different card backs, it's got a sticker up here, which is the Japanese distribution sticker. Yeah, and I can't read Japanese, but it's basically got a picture of Anakin Pod Racer with a little some Star Wars logo, and then a bit of Japanese writing around the back. But on the back, that you've then got a larger Japanese distribution sticker on the normal sort of American card back. So I thought that was quite interesting. So another little variant for everybody out there who collects all the variants. So anyway, let's continue. As I said, there are some quite interesting figures in this line, and I'm going to show you a few of them because I think it's worth bigging up. So this is Queen Amidala Royal Decoy, but another really cool Queen Amidala outfit. I know there's a lot of collectors out there who collect all the different Amidala outfits, and I might in the future do a video of just her with all her outfits, because there's probably about 20 different ones now. This is on the later version, just the ordinary card, but a pretty cool figure, pretty chunky figure. And then you've got one of my favourite droids, actually. This one's really cool. This is R2Q5, an Imperial droid. Nice black, shiny droid. Nice picture. But what I really like is it's got the holographic Death Star, like a lollipop on it, which is really cool. Probably about 20 quid, this droid. Really cool, actually. Looks nice on display. I've got him loosed in my droid area. So that's that one. And then you had things like a really unusual Darth Maul. And he's in his, what they call Sith Apprentice, so his training gear. So a very unique Darth Maul with his grey cloak. Obviously double lightsaber, but a pretty cool figure of that. And a real nice photograph on the front. And then 2 figures that I think if you saw them in a comic pack, they'd probably be 150 quid or something. I don't know, in a double comic pack. But you can get these for probably 10-15 quid, which is really unusual. They're both the Jedis, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Qui-Gon Jinn in the Jedi training gear, a bit like Darth Maul. So what they've done, they took the photograph of the character and just put him on an outfit that was never seen in the films, obviously, but really quite cool. So Obi-Wan Kenobi's got his visor you put on him, So that's really quite cool. I like that. Yeah, and then you've got Qui-Gon Jinn in like a Jedi train outfit as well. Again, really cool figures. And I don't really know why they're not so popular, because they are really cool figures. So yeah, that's what's two is mentioned there. And then carrying on, I've got a Lando here. Now, you think, oh, why is he showing a Lando? Well, this is really cool because look at it. Look at his cloak and the embroidery on that. It's really cool. The camera doesn't really do it justice. But a really nice figure actually of Lando, and really well displayed. So I really quite like that. That one there. And then the last two, a really cool droid from Hoth, Echo Base Protocol droid. Really cool. Again, you probably pick him up for about 15 quid, which is a bit of a surprise because he's really cool, that one. I think he's pretty unique actually, a white Protocol droid. They're quite difficult to get hold of. And then finally, one that I did feature in my What's the Heaviest Figure video is Jed Porkins. And again, I think this is probably the only Jed Porkins you can get, but correct me if I'm wrong. But a pretty cool figure, a well-liked character, so he's pretty good as well. So that's my honourable mentions. So let's move on to the top 5 most expensive figures. And at number 5, we have got FX7. Probably the best version of FX7 you can get. To scale, he's great. He's got loads of features, loads of arms and bits and pieces. He looks really good with the back to tank that comes out with this line as well. But really cool figure. And he would probably cost you about 20 quid, I reckon. But if you want to get an FX7, that is still probably, after all these years, the one to get. And then moving on to another Queen Amidala. This is the Feed Invasion. This figure really pops, really nice bright reds on it. But really cool. Again, for those of you who like Queen Amidala dresses and stuff like that, it's a really nice figure. That would probably cost you again about 20 or 25 quid if you bought her now. I'll just put these up here as we go through them. And then you've got Ketwall, a really cool figure, and he actually comes with 2 sets of trousers. He's got these trousers in here, and then he's got his outfit, so I think his bottom half comes off, or those trousers fit over him. He's actually got, I just realised, he's actually got a metal leg in there, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so yeah, just reading about him now. Yeah, don't really know much about him, so if anyone knows much about him, and I can't really remember, it's probably a Phantom Menace figure in the background, but can't really remember what film he was in, if I'm honest with you. But this is another Mexican version with the different logos on, different language on the front, but really cool figure, pretty chunky. Definitely the only version of that one you get. And then we move on to typically 2 Cantina patrons that are really going up in money at the moment. You've got the pilot Boshek, again on the later card version. Get him now, he's probably going to cost you 30-35 quid, and probably going up more and more in value, because again, that's the only version of him you can get. So there's Boshek. And then finally, you've got Fans Choice figure number 1, which is Elos Maddock. A very famous character in the Cantina in Tatooine. Again, because of the Cantina coming out in HasLab, he's gone up in value. Probably this one's probably 50 quid now. Most of the Cantina aliens from the old lines are looking at 50, 60, 70 quid because everyone wants them. So there you go, that's my top 5. So in the line, they also produced some silver anniversary double packs. There were 3 of them. There was Luke and Leia on like a stage with the rope and the Death Star, and then you had Chewie and Han with the Millennium Falcon in the background, and then you also had Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and that's the one I haven't got, so I'll pop up a picture. But pretty cool, really nicely displayed. As I said, there was 3 of these. That's the backs, nothing too exciting there, but there's the one I haven't got, Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. That's pretty cool. Probably the best one though they also produced was this 300 figure Boba Fett. which is really, really cool. It's got a great picture of Boba Fett on the side, and on the back it's sort of hollow, so you can almost reach it and touch the back of the figure, which is pretty good. Believe it or not, they actually did 2 versions of this with slightly different packaging. I think the figure's the same, but I'll show a picture of that. So I'm not sure which one's which, whether this is a UK one. Yeah, it says UK. Whether there was a US one different, is the different one, I'm not sure, but I'll show a picture of it anyway. But they're pretty cool. And then they produced one other double pack, which was the Masters of the Dark Side, which had Darth Maul and Darth Vader on a little sort of stage. Not a great set, if I'm honest with you. Typically the elastic bands come loose in here, as they do, as I've warned you many a times. And there's the back of the card, and there's the stage. So they look quite nice on display, I guess. But you can probably pick that up for sort of, I don't know, 15, 20 quid, that one. And then they did 4 lots of deluxe figures. We'll start with the Leia and barge cannon, Cell barge cannon. Pretty good. For many years this was the only way you can get the barge cannon, so it's pretty cool. Now you probably have to spend probably 20-25 quid to get that, so not that expensive, not as expensive as some of the others, but there you go. You can see the others that I'm going to show you in a minute on the back. And then there's a photograph obviously of Leia on the Cell barge. But yeah, quite a nice little range of packs. Then you've got another quite unusual one. You've got Darth Maul with the Sith attack droid, so like a a spinning droid on a pedestal. Obviously the only way you can get that droid is in this pack, so that makes it quite rare in itself. And then Darth Maul with his top showing, with all his tattoos, so pretty cool. But again, you probably get that for 20-25 quid. It's not really expensive. They did again do this in 2 different card backs, the Mexican and then the US release again. And in terms of backs, more or less the same. Just you had a bit more of a Mexican spill down the middle, and then the figure. So they were a little bit different. And on this, you've got some really cool concept pictures as well, I've just noticed. So pretty cool. And then moving on to the next most expensive one, which is, and listen, a lot of people are after this because it goes really well with the FX7 droid, which sits in that little hole there, and I'll show a picture of him. So it's pretty cool, and a lot of people are after Bacta tanks because again, this is the only way you can get one. So to get this now, you probably have to spend 40-50 quid, I suspect, to get a Bacta tank with Luke inside. So pretty cool. Again, a bit of an overlooked line where they produce things like this, so it's pretty cool. And then finally, believe it or not, this is probably the most expensive one, again, because Amanaman hasn't been launched in the TVC line. This is probably the best Amanaman you can get. It comes with a Stacey's Crumb, his staff, and then a skeleton figure there. So Cell barge people who've got that really want this figure, and for that reason it's probably about a 50 quid figure at the moment, 40 or 50 quid figure. So in relative terms to the rest of the line, quite expensive, but pretty cool deluxe packs. And then we had quite an unusual set. This is a Mexico exclusive, Figures de Colección. So it's a 4-pack from Mexico. Quite hard to get hold of. Not a great pack, if I'm honest. Just some re-releases. Pretty drab packaging. But if you want to get this Mexican pack, you're probably talking about 50 quid, because it is quite rare, from 2002. It's a shame because they could have made much more of the packaging, I think. But yeah, the Mexican exclusive. So lastly, let's look at the vehicles line, and this is quite a cool set that came out in 2001. Was the Imperial ATST and Speeder Bike, so a little multi-pack, and you had a little Paplu in there, which is a pretty cool. There you go, Paplu figure included. What's really common with all the vehicles in this line, they've all got this plastic cover, display cover. You can see the vehicles, which is great, but if you want mint gradable stuff, it's very, very difficult because these get dinged and bashed. All mine in this line are pretty good. They're probably just not gradable, which is a shame, or they would probably get an 80. So yeah, so pretty good packaging. You've got a picture from the film, and on the back you've got what you get. You get Pat Blue's speeder bike, and then you get the original mold ATST, so not the bigger version. They were still on the smaller version in those days. But what you did do, you did get the coloured feet, so they made a bit of an effort in terms of the weathering. But apart from that, really exactly the same. Another scene from the film there. But a pretty cool pack, really. Nice little display pack. And then you can also see the pack from the top as well in this packaging. So that was the Imperial AT-ST and speeder bike. And then moving on to... Sorry, that AT-ST and speeder bike's probably about £60. If you want to get him now, 60 or 70 quid. The snow speeder is about the same price. Again, you've got the window feature, so you can see all round. And this is quite cool because this shows Luke Skywalker's snow speeder after it's crashed into the snow. So the cardboard looks like it's sort of buried into the snow. So pretty cool. You've got the cracked windscreen on the front. So quite a nice display piece. And you've actually got, although it says Luke Skywalker's snow speeder, you've actually, it does say on the back, includes new Dak Rolter figure there. Now he looks awfully like Luke Skywalker to me, but you know, yeah. So, but that's Dak Rolter in there. So yeah, pretty cool picture on the side of the AT-ATs and the actual snow speeder. So pretty cool set. Again, probably about 60 quid for that one. And then it gets slightly better in terms of the ships. You've got the TIE Bomber, which is the first ever iteration of the TIE Bomber. Sorry, the top's a bit dusty. So really cool. Again, the TIE Bomber pilots come loose because you've got the classic elastic band problem. But love this packaging. He's bombing in, you know, whether hidden the Millennium Falcon. That was really cool. And a really nice picture from the film of a TIE Bomber on the back. Pretty cool. And there's the top of the packaging there. Just so you see it there. Yeah, there's the top of the packaging. So pretty nice. Again, really hard to get these in a gradable position because this gets dinged, but not bad. Probably about, again, £70 maybe to get that. And it had bombs with it as well, and obviously the cockpit and everything. So pretty cool set. Then probably my favourite, because I like my TIE Interceptors, is this one, the TIE Interceptor. Just change the camera a little bit. There you go. Yeah, so there's a TIE Interceptor. I like this. It's got a really cool window. You just see part of it, which is really nice. You know, and on this is a nice box, really dark green logo and everything. So it looks really cool. You've got the TIE Pilot in there, which is still just about in place, although the rubber band is just starting to disintegrate. You got a cool scene of the Death Star there with a TIE Interceptor in front. Really nice packaging. This one's probably 80-85 if I got it graded. So pretty nice condition, this one. So pretty cool. Probably my favourite one. There is one other, but this is probably my favourite. So that's a TIE Interceptor. Before we go to the biggest vehicle, I'll just show you the only playset of the line. And this is the carbon freezing chamber. Obviously partly redone in the TVC line many years ago. But this is pretty cool. It's got a unique security guard inside, and like a carbon freezing way of carbon freezing the security guard. So there's a set. It's pretty cool for a set. Quite a small box. This one's pretty good. It's got a little knock up the top there, but otherwise pretty good. So you had a cannon, you had a freezing chamber, some controls, and then obviously the unique carbon block, and then the security guard. So that would probably cost you 50 or 60 quid again, so not too bad. But obviously the TVC one came out afterwards, if you want to get this set. So that's the only play set of the piece. And then finally you've got the B-Wing with Solution Pilot. Really big piece, really looks cool displayed like this. Very similar to the vintage one. The mold's the same, the colouring's very similar, just a little bit weathered. You've got a unique solution pilot in there, and I've got to be careful because that elastic band's come loose again. There's the top of the packaging. So again, you've got all the clear plastic on the front. This one's pretty good, no dents or anything. Needs a bit more of a dust, but pretty good. This is probably grade an 85 or an 80 if I was lucky with an 85. But yeah, seen there, you've got Tantive 5, you've got the Death Star, and then the B-Wing. So pretty cool. This is probably the most expensive one of the piece. You'd be looking to probably have to spend between 80 and 100 pounds to get this one in nice condition, maybe more. There ain't too many around, especially when they're ding free like this. So pretty nice. And then on the top, you've got a really cool scene here. Just really brings you back to the vintage, original vintage version where they had the same sort of thing. So yeah, really cool set. Really like that. And I think the vehicles really kind of make the line. So let's have a look at all those all important values and see what you'd have to spend to get this line now. So let's have a look at the all important values and how much you'd have to spend to get the Power of the Jedi line. As always, I have gone through eBay in a lot of detail, spent a lot of time going through the latest sales figures. So this is pretty accurate as of now. So let's have a look. So as I said at the start, you've got 60 figures in total, including the 4 sneak peeks. So on eBay, I reckon you'd have to spend about £687 at the moment and an average of £11.45. So quite a low value. And I think a lot of these figures are probably underselling, if you like. And I think they're probably going to be worth a bit more in the future. So let's move on to the Deluxe multi-packs and the 20th anniversary figure packs. There was 10 of those, obviously including the 300th Boba Fett figure that I showed you. And I think you have to spend about £255 to get all of those at an average of £25.50. Moving on to the vehicles and the one playset, which is the carbon freezing playset. So there were 6 of those in total, and you'd have to spend £420, and that gives you an average of £70. So as you expect with vehicles from 2000 and 2001, they are quite expensive. So that's the vehicles and playset. And finally, here's the grand total. You'd have to spend about £1,332. I'm lucky enough to have all of it, apart from, and I didn't put it on the screen here, I'm just missing a couple of the 25th anniversary double packs. So I probably need to spend maybe 50 quid, 40 quid to finish the line. But I've got 99% of it. But you'd have to spend £1,332. So in terms of bang for your buck, that's 60 figures. That's pretty good as far as Star Wars lines goes. So that's it for this week, and I'll see you again next week. But until then, take care. Thanks very much. Goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mando number 5.